Greetings and welcome once again. Just a little preview here of what we're going to cover on June 1st for the next podcast. I believe this is podcast number 18, just from the regular shows, not including the bonus shows or the archive stuff that you'll find. Plenty of all that coming too. But regarding the podcast here, I was thinking about it, and we may actually have to break this up into 3 parts. So I think with the living room one, we did 4 parts of that. So last month we covered, on May 1st, we covered the suspicious activity chapter minus item 53. So technically this would be the 3rd part of the suspicious activity chapter of my book, The Gray Stage. So now we're getting into the people who were inside the house on January 19th, 2015. Because there's some conflicting reports about who was and who was not in that house. So that's going to be the main focus. What do people say? Who says what? And how come once again with this case their stories don't seem to line up? Go figure. How many times in this case are we going to see that? Everybody has a story, and they're all different. They're all, they don't line up. How else do you say that? I can say it in many different ways, but that's what it really comes down to. The stories simply do not line up, and they should. And they should. If everybody's telling the truth, the stories should line up. Well, guess what? Big bombshell information, my friends. They don't line up. Well, we're going to see why. We're going to see what the documents say, what Mason Hendricks has said, and I guess we go from there, right? This goes back to the 911 call that was placed on January 19th. Not when the bodies were found, but 2 days later is what we're talking about. Now, according to Mason Hendricks, nobody was in the house until the cleaners, until everything was cleaned. We know that that's not true, because we know that the cleaners were still in the house on January 20th. And this incident that we're going to talk about is January 19th, when Mason Hendricks, Adam Schambauer, Danny Mason, possibly Sean Wright, and maybe some other people too, depending on who you listen to. Oh, definitely Chris Klein. Gotta have Klein in there. But Chris Klein says that also David's father and David's brother were there. David's father says he was not there. So there we go. Now, we also don't know if this was the same, if all these guys were in the house, if this is the same time that we're talking about the 911 call. Did they come back? How long were they there? What were they doing there? What were they looking for? So it's still, you know, when I try to match up the timelines and everything, something still does not make sense. Because you have Judy Prochnow, who was saying that Mason Hendricks was also there during this 911 call with Chris Klein. Hendricks pretty much says that's not true. So, and when I asked him why, you know, it's Judy. Consider the source. So that's what he says about Judy Prochnow. We've heard Sean Wright say similar things. Danny Mason, you know, they're not too keen on Judy Prochnow, at least behind her back. I don't know what they say to her. I have no idea. But what I do know is that we're just documenting here. We're documenting what these people say, what other people say, and then, you know what, at the end of the day, you get to decide, obviously. I'm not going to try to tell you who's right, who was lying, who was there, who wasn't there. I don't know. I know I wasn't there. I'm sure many of you listening to this, watching this, were not there either. But we're going to talk about who was there. And we're going to talk about some of the conflicting reports and what they were doing there, what happened inside of there. We've already kind of talked about how little time they had. 20 minutes. I don't know. All these people in there for 20 minutes? That makes me suspect that obviously they were there on multiple times. on multiple days, possibly even. I don't know. But what we know for sure is what's in those documents, and then we know, okay, this person said that, this person said this. That's what we'll be covering here. So the suspicious activity chapter, it's kind of a cluster. When I went back and read it, because it's not a direct timeline, and I still like, should it have been? It's pretty close, but for me it was very important. You'll see a lot of the Mason Hendricks quotes, and a lot of his what he told me is kind of more towards the end, and some of the strange things that he said about what the cops were doing there and everything, and how could they miss this, and that the wall was painted white when they were there, and at that point they did not know about the blood writing on the wall, because the wall was already painted. So obviously the cleaner, somebody had been there, but we know that they're still there on January 20th. So should anybody have been there in the house at this time? Was it still a crime scene? Maybe not. Was the scene quote unquote cleared? Possibly, sure. Should they have been there at that time? Should they have waited till the cleaners had done their job on January 20th? Well, again, you will decide that for yourself. We're going to present the facts as we know them, just the facts, man. And of course, we'll have some speculations, man, too, as well, because there's a lot of speculations going around. And when you have the biggest speculation is that David Crowley is guilty, that opens up Pandora's box to all sorts of speculation. So maybe we shouldn't speculate that David Crowley is guilty and then get butthurt when other people start speculating about other things, too. Just a thought there. But one thing that is not speculation is that you can access all of those files. You can get my book for free. You can download it right now if you go to thegraystage.wordpress.com. You can download it for free. You can read it. Do whatever you want with it. Everything's source. There has been talk about maybe an updated version, maybe even a possible second version. I've got a few other things I have to wipe off my plate before any of that is going to happen, obviously, but you just never know. I get asked all the time, what's new with the case? Well, there's always something new. I mean, you have to tell me where you left off. But I think if you really want to get caught up and make sure that you're all caught up, start with my book. Starting with the book will show you everything that we have done up until this point, I guess, or whenever I released it, in 2020. So up until January 2020, that was what we had, and the most relevant stuff. Not everything, obviously. That's the great thing about doing this podcast, is that there's a lot of stuff that we do not cover in this book that we will talk about in the podcast. So it'll be a continual thing. I believe we're not even halfway through the book yet, and we've already got 17 shows. So we'll see. We'll see where this goes. But remember, on the first of every month, we put out a new podcast. I don't want to say we drop a new podcast, because I'm not dropping it. Nothing is being dropped, hopefully. The police dropped the ball with this case. That we know. So I don't want to do that with this podcast. So I'll try my best not to. That's all that I can do. And if I'm wrong, I'll have to admit that I'm wrong where I get things wrong. We make corrections. Simple as that. What really matters is the truth, not credibility, because as we know, I don't care about my credibility. Okay? I don't give two slaps of a monkey's ass about my credibility. Trust me on that one. Because it doesn't matter. I know what the truth is. I know what the facts are. I know what I know. And that's all that I know. I am what I am, and that's all that I am. So I'm very confident in that. Very confident in everything that I've put in my book, and very confident about that there are no facts that prove David Crowley guilty. Very confident about that. That's what I know. So after 6 years now, Nobody has been able to prove otherwise, right? You don't see that. So, and if you do, the police need it, because I'm sure they would love to solve this case, not just have it ruled quote unquote exceptionally cleared and tell us all to basically move on. It just seems like this family deserves a lot better, and it's not that hard either. It's not that difficult. I mean, if you have a bunch of us regular people who can figure this stuff out, who can look into this and research this, the police can do the same. You can do the same too. So it's not that hard. It takes a little effort, but a little effort can go a very long way. And in this case, it definitely has. It has brought us closer to the truth every day, every single day. I hope it brings you closer to the truth, and I hope that it reminds you that David Crowley is not guilty. It's as simple as that. Like I said, if I'm wrong, please, I will be willing to admit that I'm wrong. That's all we've ever asked for, is the evidence that shows that he's guilty. This doesn't exist, my friends, my folks, my peeps. It is non-existent. And so you have to ask yourself a lot of questions based on that. How did we get here? Why wasn't more done to really investigate this case? Not just to investigate David and why they want to believe that he's guilty. It's totally backwards. It's not the way that you should do it. Many cops are going to tell you that. Many in the Apple Valley Police, maybe privately, may even tell you that. Off record may tell you that. Retired may tell you that. Obviously, they're not gonna say in public. They're not gonna put their job in jeopardy for this. And I think we have just a lot of people, all of the Gray State goons that were just like so quick, they're a victim, woe is me, blah blah blah, but David's guilty. But hey, we're still gonna move forward with his project and everything. And it's a lot of doublespeak. The more lies that we caught them in, the more they had to change their story. That's all documented stuff. It's not us making things up. It's documented. It's their quotes. When they have one quote, that says it was a pact, and then turn around, no, it wasn't a pact. Then go back to it was a pact. Where does it end, right? But I'm not chasing them. I'm not chasing the Gray State goons. I'm chasing the facts. I'm chasing where this case goes. I'm chasing to where we can get some closure to this. Closure is really, I guess, what we are chasing here. Closure is not just dropping the case and moving on. It's not going to bring you closure. If you think that is, you are delusional. You're lying to yourself. You can only do that for so long. You can lie to me if you want. You have. Many of them have. You cannot lie to yourself. So stop trying. It's not going to work. It's misplaced anger and misplaced hatred to come after the researchers, the people that are honestly, sincerely looking into this case. You spent half the time looking for stuff that proved David Crowley guilty instead of just assuming that that he is, which is not true at all. I know it's not true. The police can't even prove it unless you're withholding information from the police. That's never a good idea either. But it happens. People do it. They shouldn't, but they do it. I guess it's pretty easy to do if the police really don't want to hear it and they're not open to any other theories or any, looking into anything else that might show David Crowley is not guilty. It's like we have to present a whole case. We got to do the job for them to even look at anything, any alternatives. Well, fat chance of that, even though I think we've done a pretty good job of doing that, if they look. I hope they are looking. I hope they are watching. I hope they are listening. I hope they will keep an open mind. And I hope that one day somebody will come. Somebody will come forward. And that's why we'll say, okay, let's take another look at this case. Let's take a deeper dive into this. Let's prove these assholes wrong, What's wrong with that? They don't have time. You don't have time. We're talking about, a very important case to a lot of people. it is a big scar on the Apple Valley Police, on Minnesota, on Hollywood, on the Gray State Goons. They should be the first ones here. Because if they can help prove David did not do this, they can run off and do whatever they want with David's project, in his memory, in his name, instead of bashing him all the time. So, the fact that they go around bashing David Crowley really makes me think maybe they weren't really David Crowley's friends. Maybe that's why he was distancing himself from them. We hear a lot about this party, for Ranya's party, and how David was distancing, him and Kamel were distant. I don't know about that. I wasn't there, but we know that he was distancing himself from all them. They were all there. I don't know. It's a mixed bag. And again, David Crowley is not here to defend himself. And you would think that friends of David Crowley would be the first ones to stand up and defend him and say, wait a minute, okay, maybe he is guilty, but let's look at this. I mean, how quickly did these guys not only believe David Crowley was guilty, but spread that propaganda and try to force that propaganda onto other people in threatening ways, too. And it's just not going to work. It's not going to work. You don't give in to terrorists, and you don't respond to threats. It just kind of shows you that we're on the right path, and just keep searching for the truth. That's all that you can do, and in the end, if you do that, you win. That's how you win. Not by giving in, not by giving up, but by looking for truth, by promoting the truth, and by sticking to the truth, sticking to your guns, not being intimidated by these losers. So, we're winners. We keep looking into this. We keep the case active. We keep reminding people, all the new people that are constantly showing up in the group, asking questions, wanting to know. They don't want me to tell them what it is. They want to find it out for themselves. So the evidence is there. The documents are there. If you don't have time to go through all of the thousands of pages, look at all the photos, you should have time to at least read my book. It's 200 pages. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. You can, download it right now and just read it. It's all source. Everything is source. Everything that's in there. And then you can, what I hope is that will then make you want to go back through the documents and take a deeper look, take a closer look. But that's your choice too. If you read all this stuff and you're like, no, I still think he's guilty. Well, all right, that's fine. That's your choice. I can't change that. I can't change you. But I know what I know. I know where I stand on this case, and that's pretty much it. So we'll see what happens next, but I am looking forward to this next podcast. Hopefully we'll get everybody back on as well. I don't know if we'll do it live. Last time, it didn't really work out that well. There were some buffering issues and people couldn't hear half of it. Of course, because I had the audio backed up, I was able to put out a backup version of that show. So we'll see what happens with that. But regardless of if we do it live this Sunday, we're gonna be recording it this Sunday, probably about 12 p.m. or so. I do believe that I don't want to rush this one. I don't want to rush this chapter either. So I'm still going to plan on doing about 50 minutes, 55 minutes. I know I say that every time. We've done it once out of 17 shows, maybe. So we'll see. We'll see how far we can get with this one. The preparation that I wanted to do and everything, I have not been able to do that. I've not had time. Believe it or not, do have other things going on in this world here too. But I'm not just gonna drop this case. Sorry, it's not gonna happen. Let's get some closure on this. Let's get some real closure on what happened with David Crowley. At the very least, let's all understand that he's innocent. like I said, you don't have to. You can believe whatever you want, but what is it based on? It should be based on some facts, not second, third-hand knowledge, secret knowledge that nobody can see. So that is about that. So June 1st, expect it. Expect us. It's coming. The next live podcast, or the next new podcast, I guess. This will be Suspicious Activity Part 2. The way it looks right now, we probably will have to have a Part 3. We'll see. We'll see how far we can get looking into this one. But we still have a long ways to go. We are at the point now where this is the last missing bullet that they're going to find in February. 1 month later. It takes them a month to contact Klein, to get in touch with him, and Klein starts telling them things they did not know, including that there was a bullet hole, including that there was a bullet. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit about the image that the Apple Valley Police Department says does show that there was a bullet hole on January 17th, the day the bodies were found. They've already admitted that they missed it. Nobody saw it. They did not see it on January 17th. Nobody did. Nobody, not know how. Chris Klein saw it. Mason Hendricks saw it. Who else saw it? Why is there no blood on it? How do you have David's DNA on it, but not his blood? It's kind of weird, right? So we'll talk about all that. I believe that's about it, my friends. Hopefully you will tune in for the next Gray Stage podcast. Take a listen. I'll probably put a YouTube version out as well, like I always do. I think I always do. A little late sometimes, but I will try to get one out for everybody. For the YouTubers. But wherever you listen to your podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, that's where you will find the Gray Stage podcast. Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, lots of other ones that I don't even know, never heard of, but apparently it's getting out there. So it has a worldwide reach. That's all I know. But again, it's up to you. If you have time permitting, if you're on a road trip, put it in your car and just listen to it. There's a lot of good stuff there, and it's only going to get better or get worse for some people, depending on how you look at it, I guess. But that shall do it, my friends. God bless you all. Hope you have a great day.